Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. Thanks for joining us on your Tuesday afternoon. What we're tracking today is a level 3 tornado risk from several supercells that we're expecting to develop later on this afternoon and evening. We have that level 3 tornado risk from the eastern side of Oklahoma and into central Arkansas. So a good portion of the U.S. impacted by this today. We even have a tornado risk all the way down into Texas, just to the north of Dallas. So we're talking about this severe weather outbreak that encompasses much more than just a tornado risk here, but also a hail and high wind risk as well across Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, portions of Tennessee, and even the East Coast. If I take you out one more time here. If I take you out to the Atlantic, there you go. We also have a 90% chance for tropical cyclone formation, which means that we do have another area which we could most likely get our next tropical cyclone after Gabrielle. Right now, Gabrielle is a Category 4 hurricane as it continues to track almost straight to the east. We're watching for it to weaken into a Category 3, eventually 2, and eventually Category 1 hurricane. But of course, we have that next area that we are keeping an eye on over the next few days. But first, before we get to your very important forecast today, I want to talk about the Storm Restoration Masterclass. Now, on October 6th, so we're a little over a week away from this class, Derek Klein is speaking at RoofCon. If you've never heard Derek speak before, you absolutely don't want to miss this. He's a phenomenal speaker. Head over to roofcon.com/2025-Oklahoma. Now, it's been a busy week so far. We're going to talk about these storms that we saw over the last 48 hours and then get into the storms over the next 48 hours. Just about 24 hours ago, 36 hours ago, we saw a very impressive storm up in Minneapolis, Minnetonka to be exact, 2-inch size hailstones, over 44,000 homes impacted. Now, if I take you down to Texas, this was a very impressive storm. Just north of Denton, Texas, we actually had 2 supercells here. So that first one to the north of Denton, and then that second one from Sherman to Melissa, Texas. Very impressive storm. Now, before I get to the full storm here, I want to show you some video of what was happening in Anna, Texas. Now, to tell you exactly what was happening here, the videographer here said literally the worst storm we've ever encountered. 2 broken windows, 2 brand new 2025 vehicles completely destroyed. My Suburban may also be destroyed. We are expected to have another cell come through. Devastated is an understatement right now. My heart is sad. And again, that was Shelby Motley who was taking that video that you saw right there. That was this storm here from Sherman to Melissa. Anna is right in the middle there. So to give you some statistics on this storm, over 23,000 homes were impacted. The max forecasted, or the max hail size here was 2 inches, about the size of an egg. And the locations hit here were Sanger, Sherman, Anna, and Melissa, Texas. Now moving on to what we saw yesterday out in Fremont, Nebraska. We saw hailstones a little bit larger than that 2-inch size, so 2.25 is what we saw in Fremont. A little over 13,000 homes impacted. So we've had a very, very active last 48 hours. Now we're expecting to have another very active 24 hours here, especially out in the eastern side of Oklahoma and into Arkansas. So I'm going to skip a few graphics because I want to get into that very important forecast here. Let's go ahead and talk about, I'm going to skip through yesterday. Let's talk about today. Okay, so what we have is a perfect setup. From moisture coming up from the Gulf, we've got some warmer temperatures down to the south, some cooler air behind that cold front, and then of course we have that forcing, which we need for storms as this cold front continues to move to the east across Oklahoma into places like northern Texas and the western side of Arkansas. We've got a few showers on the East Coast right now, pretty dry across the southeast. We've got a big cluster of showers and storms sitting across Missouri at the moment. Now, I'm not worried about these storms right here. Actually, what I'm watching for is a line of storms that are expected to develop later on this afternoon and evening. So let's go ahead and talk about that setup. We talked about those warmer temperatures. Check that out, 86 in Oklahoma City, but we are sitting at a cool 67 in Kansas City, just to show you that temperature difference that front is causing. Moving on to your significant hail model here, we're getting right into that severe weather forecast now. We're talking about a chance for hail today. Yes, it's possible. But this is not the biggest risk in the forecast today. You can see some of those darker oranges trying to sneak in from some of these storms later on this afternoon and evening. Maybe Tulsa getting some hail here. It's possible, but I do expect those supercells to go up just to the east of the Turner Turnpike here, and we're really going to be watching storms right along the Oklahoma and Arkansas state line. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these numbers here. How large do we expect the hail to get today? Right around 2 inches in size, about the size of a hen egg. Your hail forecast, again, I did highlight Tulsa for that larger hail. Just to the east of Oklahoma City also could get up to golf ball size hail today, but we're really watching for this area right in here, again, near the Oklahoma and Arkansas state line. Hey, Dallas, a few of those storms could come your way as well. You could see some hail out of these storms as well, especially if we can get this southerly wind pumping. Alrighty, let's go ahead and talk about the wind forecast today, adding a few more cities farther out to the east from storms that'll stretch into places like Memphis and Nashville. We even have a risk for storms along the east coast here, all the way to places like Roanoke, Baltimore, and Philadelphia. I didn't know how far northeast that went there. So we'll have another line of storms out on the east coast today. But I know what everyone has jumped on here for is that tornado forecast. Now, taking a look at the tornado forecast today, we have a level 3 risk for strong tornadoes today. Now let me break this down for you. A level 3 means multiple tornadoes are likely, especially in this area from just east of Tulsa into Fort Smith, Arkansas. But this area that's hatched with these dark black hatches there, do you see those lines on the board on top of that red area? What that means is that we could see strong to significant tornadoes, EF2 or stronger in this area. And I think once you see radar, you're going to be able to pinpoint exactly where we're expecting those stronger storms to start and track to this evening and late night tonight. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about your timeline today. Oh, let me talk about a few other places here real quick. We've got a level 1 tornado risk that stretches just to the north of Dallas, Texarkana, Little Rock, and Memphis, all included in that level 1 risk. So just to highlight a few more places, not just that level 3 area. Alrighty, let's go ahead and take a look at the radar. As always, we start zoomed out, nationwide view, and then we zoom back in and we go right into that area of most concern. So you can see that highlighted there in orange. It's your enhanced risk today. It's a level 3 on a scale of 5. This risk goes anywhere from 44 Turner Turnpike to the east here, right along Highway 49 and just to the north of Highway 40. I want you to watch this storm development here. You can see that we've got a line of showers and storms ongoing right now. Not worried about these. What I'm watching for is development later on this afternoon and evening. So we're talking about, there you go, 6 o'clock tonight, Tulsa, and just to the east of Tulsa, you've got to watch that evening commute, especially if you get off a little bit later than most people. 5 o'clock, you're probably fine. 6 o'clock, I want you to keep an eye on the weather. These storms are going to go up fast and they're going to track to the east pretty fast as well. By 8 o'clock, they're hugging the state line here right along 49 and headed into some of our bigger cities in Arkansas as we head into the late night hours. Now, I want to remind you of the time. 8:30, it's dark. At this time of the year, it's dark at 8:30. So some of these storms could be nocturnal supercells, nocturnal tornadoes, which is absolutely a hazard that we have to watch out for. Just a view down to the south here, we could also see some of these storms eventually stretch into places like Dallas. We'll zoom into Dallas here in just a few minutes, and then up to the north into places like Memphis and Nashville. You're going to have more of a wind risk. So again, that severe timeline, probably right around 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock tonight, maybe even stretching into the overnight hours. One more time with Texas, because I know a lot of people are joining from Texas right now. We've got those supercells forming right along the Oklahoma and Arkansas state line. Meanwhile, down in Texas, you could see an isolated storm or two right along I-20, if not just headed up 35. I'm not too worried about the severe risk here. Some high winds and some hail are going to be the biggest risks here, but it could wake you up into the morning hours with a second round of storms coming early tomorrow morning and into your morning commute. Moving off to the east now, we're talking about Tennessee, which is going to get rain for a good portion of today, especially northern Tennessee here, and then a line of storms just along the east coast with that wind threat as well. Alrighty, moving on to your flash flood risk today. A very widespread area for not only showers and storms that are ongoing right now, but of course that severe threat later on this afternoon and evening. This tracks to the east for tomorrow, just up the east coast and into the Midwest here. And then we get a break as we head into Thursday. Again, there's your severe risk for today, that level 3 enhanced risk highlighted there in orange. A marginal risk for storms tomorrow. Now, we talked about the severe weather, and if you missed it, we'll go back to it here in just a few minutes. But I want to take a break to talk about what's happening in the Pacific and the Atlantic. Narda, right now, a Category 1 hurricane, is moving to the west at about 13 miles an hour, about typical. We've got a Category 4 hurricane that's sitting in the Atlantic, not expected to make too much of an impact on land. Bermuda is still getting some of those higher waves, but for the most part, this is a fish storm. Gabrielle's had quite a life cycle here. It's gone to the west, a little bit closer to the U.S., and it's taken a turn back to the east now. But I do want to talk about other impacts that we could see over the next few days. Now, you see this right here. I hate showing these long-term models because they are often so inaccurate. However, what I can show you here, what is accurate, is that we've got two areas. We've got Invest 94L and we've got Invest 93L. Two areas here that could be our next tropical cyclone or named storm. So after Gabrielle, what are we looking for? I'm going to start with that orange highlighted area first, where we have a 20% chance for formation in the next 2 days. Not too worried about this in the next 48 hours. However, as we head into the end of this week and this weekend, we're going to have to keep an eye on this because this does near a lot closer to the east coast. Just behind this area highlighted in red. So this invest is sitting in an area that is very, very favorable for tropical cyclone formation over the next 7 days. I'm actually going to give this a little bit of a shorter timeline here. Let's say by Friday, we'll probably have our next named storm. Now, our next named storm after Gabrielle, I think it's Humberto. Am I right on that? Yes, I am. After that, Imelda. So we could have potentially 2 more named storms by the end of this week, if not this weekend. Very, very impressive, but I do want to take you back to land because this is one of our most impressive risks that we've had in quite a while. We have a level 3 risk for severe storms today. We've got a hail forecast here. Highlighted there in orange is those larger hailstones, anywhere between $50 to golf ball size hail. So I'm going to go through very, very quickly your severe storm timeline for anyone who just jumped on. Let us know where you're watching from and we'll try to tailor this forecast to where you're at. Are you guys in Dallas? Are you in Tulsa? Joplin, Missouri, okay? Let's go up to Joplin here. Potential hail size, if you could get a good storm, especially if it's isolated. Some of those first few storms of the evening between about 5 and 7 o'clock, that's going to be your sweet spot for hail in Joplin, Missouri. I would say maybe very isolated 2-inch size hail, but probably closer to $50 golf ball size hail. Really, the hail risk is not one of the main things that I'm watching for today. We're going to have a high wind risk with these storms. And then fast forward, I want to show you the tornado risk as well. Joplin, Missouri is in that level 1 tornado risk. You go to the south just a little bit and you get into that level 3 tornado risk, highlighted there in red. Just a reminder, if you weren't here at the very beginning of the forecast, that area highlighted in red means most likely the most tornadoes, however, or the most reported tornadoes, according to the Storm Prediction Center. However, this area that's hatched, you see those black hatches right there? That means strong tornadoes. So we're talking about EF2 or stronger. We're not talking about just a few spin-ups today. We're talking about supercells. And you can actually see them, so watch this timeline right here. We've got showers and storms ongoing right now, not worried about those. What I'm watching for is right around or shortly after your evening commute, you're going to see a line of storms form right around Tulsa or just to the east of Tulsa all the way down just to the north of Dallas. Now, this line of storms, that'll be where your supercells are. That'll be where those tornadoes are. We'll zoom in, we'll show you one more time. So I'm not too worried about the storms ongoing right now. It's this line of storms right here. That's what we're watching for. So places like Joplin, if you can get maybe one of these isolated supercells, if you could get that down by your area, then you could get some larger hail. Once this congeals into a line of storms here, I'm not as worried about the hail. I'm more worried about that wind threat and then, of course, the tornado threat on top of it. This line of storms, again, stretches anywhere from 44 through 49 and then all the way down to I-35 as it connects in Dallas. And there you go. There's your forecast for today. Again, strong tornadoes is going to be your biggest hazard this afternoon and evening. The best timeline for storms will be between about 5 o'clock and 11 o'clock tonight. Remember the timing here, because anything that happens after about 8 o'clock will be a nocturnal supercell. Winds, high winds in the dark, you can't see them coming. And nocturnal tornadoes, one of the most dangerous hazards that we have. Alrighty, moving on here. One more look at Dallas, because I know a lot of people had questions about Dallas today. It's a tricky forecast because you have several rounds of storms in Dallas. You have that first initial line of storms that stretches anywhere from Arkansas all the way down to the north of Dallas, right along I-20. But that's not the only round of storms that you have today. After that line of storms comes through, you have another round of storms that starts back at 27. This is going to come through the overnight hours. I'm not terribly worried about the severity of this line of storms, but you may watch it for some high wind, and then it may wake you up in the overnight hours as well. Lots of lightning there. Moving on, we've got some cooler weather on the way. So after all of this severe weather, we've got cooler weather behind this cold front here. Oklahoma City, Texas, it looks like a lot of us are going to be staying below average for this time of the year. So you may pull out those long sleeves for work tomorrow. It's not going to last very long. It looks like temperatures are going to warm right back up to the 70s, 80s, and maybe even some 90s sneaking in here as we head into the end of this work week and this weekend. Even through the end of October, it looks, the end of September. I'm getting ahead of myself here. And the very beginning of October, it looks like temperatures have a high likelihood to be above average. So we're not talking about hot. We're not talking about the 90s. Probably what we're talking about here is if your high this time of the year is 85, you have a really good chance to be at 88, 89. Most likely not setting any records for daytime highs. And there's your forecast. If you missed any part of the Oh, thank you, Larry. We appreciate you hopping on here today. Larry says, good job forewarning. We not only do forecasts, but we also do live weather coverage. So whenever these storms hit, especially if they hit a big city this evening, we will be watching that for you. Not only mapping those storms at HailTrace.com, but also on social media, giving you updates via pictures or maybe even live weather coverage, live streams. Give us a call if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map. Give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. You can always head over to our website for more information, hailtrace.com, and make sure you follow us from wherever you're watching right now. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We are oftentimes your first source of weather information. We get out those alerts very quickly, and we'll talk about the weather as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon on all of these platforms. All right, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here, same time, same place, for your forecast tomorrow.